It is the last dance for the Pac-12 conference as Oregon and Washington square off for the conference championship in Las Vegas this Friday. Part of me still is not able to process it. Oregon, Washington, and USC in the Big Ten, it just doesn't make any sense. It really does suck. It's unfortunate. I've always thought Pac-12 football was underrated, but especially the past couple years when it just started to get exciting, and then what do you know? Money and conference realignment is gonna destroy it all. We can't have nice things truly in college football. I don't care what anyone says. USC is not supposed to play in the Big Ten, okay? That is an upside down invert. What does the Rose Bowl mean nothing to you people? Seriously. But you know, you can't fight change, I suppose. So with that said, today we got to give you our official prediction with an added last sense of energy, because it is the final hurrah, the Alamo, the last stand of the Pac-12. And Oregon and Washington will be squaring off in what will be a rematch. All right, so let's take a look at the Las Vegas odds. Oregon comes in as a 9-point favorite, which is a pretty big money line in itself. And you especially consider, hey, Washington won the first game, and so what the heck do people think here? You know, Washington has the better record, all of this stuff. But I have to say, I perfectly understand why Vegas is setting that line, because yes, it is true. Washington did beat Oregon in that midseason matchup, and that obviously deserves credit. I'm not discounting that at all, but I do think when you look at a greater body of work throughout this whole season, again, one game is one game. Also, Washington was at home, which definitely makes a factor, right? Stuff happens. Upsets happen. But I think you look overall, especially the last of November here, you know, Washington, as everyone knows, has been a team that's really struggled to eke by, right? Close games against, Oregon State, Washington State, USC, I think even Stanford, right? ASU, right? They've kind of been on this streak where they're winning games, which of course deserves credit. And if they win out, they deserve to be in the playoff, but very narrow margins. You definitely see kind of flimsiness, weakness. They're walking on eggshells a little bit. Whereas Oregon, on the flip side, generally speaking, especially in the later half of the season, but I would argue just throughout the whole season in general, has been a team outside of that one game who has been much more dominant, right? They've been a dominant team. And so this is all to say, to get into my prediction here, I actually think Las Vegas is right. I think that Oregon, up and down, is a better team than Washington. Okay, and I know you're going to say, but Vince, they lost. Who won the game? Again, I get that. I'm just saying, and you know, again, things can happen in one game. I am just saying, if I were to put my money in my prediction, I generally think Oregon is just a better team than Washington. And when you look at kind of, you know, the matchup, the way they've played the rest of their season, I think that sort of shows out, right? Keep this in mind. Washington, Friday night, is not going to have the home field advantage, right? They're going to be on a neutral field. And so the roar of Huskies Stadium, which, by the way, one of the more underrated stadiums in all of college football, okay? Very loud, very intense. No one really talks about it, Husky Stadium, right? But they're not going to have that. They're not going to have that on Friday. You have the added factor of the stakes. Oregon's going to be playing for revenge. And on the flip side, if you're Washington, as most people kind of know, it's very hard to beat the same team twice in a single season, right? Especially when the other team, at least in the eyes of one Vince Dow, is better than you, right? You got to pull the upset twice. Once, upset me once, shame on you. Upset me twice, shame on me. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. And so I am actually taking Oregon not just to win outright. I am actually taking Oregon to cover, okay? Because I think this is the game. This is just one of those conference championships, especially in the rematch, where Washington will be exposed in some ways as what people will call a fraud. Now, I'm not calling Washington a fraud, okay? I'm not saying that, but I think people are going to be saying that after this game, because I think this is one of those things when all the stakes are on the line, Oregon comes to play, Oregon brings their best game, and Washington, like I said, sort of a flimsy team that's just been eking by the last couple weeks. I think this is one of those games where that fully catches up to them. I would not be surprised. In fact, I am predicting actually Oregon blows out Washington, or at least, you know, covers that 9-point spread as you see here on your screen on Friday night. That is my prediction. That is what I'm rolling with. And like I said, I don't know what's going to be posted first, actually, but like I will say in the Jaden Daniels Heisman video, I think this will go down as the game where Bo Nix wins the Heisman, whether or not I agree with it. And, you know, this is ultimately what I think is going to happen. Now, on the flip side, who knows? Because there is a chance, right, that kind of luck of the Huskies you've seen all year, which I don't like to use the term luck, because I think if you're winning football games, even if they're close, you're still winning the games and you're doing it week in and week out. So maybe there's a small chance Washington once again ekes out a narrow win over Oregon. But like I said, I think understanding the stakes, Oregon's going to be bringing their A game. You know, I don't think they're going to get caught sleeping this time around. They're not going to be caught rattled by a hostile environment here on a neutral field. I think Oregon's a much better team. I think Oregon also has peaked kind of late in November. You know, they're still going strong. The train is chugging along, whereas I think Washington, arguably maybe a team that's sort of running out of gas at the end, hence why November has been such sort of a weekly struggle for them. And I just overall think Oregon's the better team, has the better players, has the better athletes. They're going to be revenge minded, maybe a little bit more hungry. Washington, flimsy a little bit, but they're still standing. This is a game that knocks them off the pedestal. Oregon will be the final champions of the Pac-12 conference. And that is my prediction, folks. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I still can't get over it. Last year of the Pac-12. It's like, you know, it's one thing, Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. I guess that was a domino that started it all. But you heard that, you're like, okay, well, it kind of makes sense. You're going to send the Pac-12 to the Big Ten again. I ask you, overlords of college football, dark evil money people, does the Rose Bowl mean nothing to you? Does tradition mean nothing to you? You scum, you degenerates, you greedy, terrible, awful human beings. Whatever. Enjoy the game Friday. Take it all in, because it's going to be the last time you see it, and it's tragic and sad. Let me know what you think in the comment section. God bless. Have a very good day. See you later.